Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 7 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. Good morning. Excuse me for the delay. I was trying to set up. My some things here, and so it just took a little bit longer than what I was expecting. But that's okay. I'm here now. So, good morning, Amy. Top of the morning. Oh yeah, look. Check what pen I'm using. Look at that. Boom. All right. I will see you all on the other side. We're going to get into our meditation routine here. So we'll see you shortly. Okay. All right, everybody, welcome back. So, we just finished our meditation routine, and now we're getting into our journaling routine. So, I will see you all on the other side. Our journaling routine. So, I will see you all on the other side. All right, everybody, welcome back. Fatima, good morning. How goes it? Good morning, Eric. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. Okay, everybody. So we just finished our reading routine, journaling routine. So now we're getting into our reading routine. I will see you all on the other side. God, this is bugging me. This camera's not square. One sec. Sorry about that, guys. You guys just saw the bottom of my keyboard. Okay. Sweet. I know, it's not square. That was bugging me. Okay. I know it's still not square, but that's all right. I will fix this tomorrow. Pardon me. Awesome. Welcome back. Okay. So, Brandon, good morning. Good morning, cuz. AJ, good morning. All right. So, today's discussion is just talking about increasing your value proposition. So, yesterday we talked specifically about knowing your hourly worth and knowing what your hourly rate is. And now today they're talking about value proposition. So it's more tailored toward real estate, as I mentioned before. But essentially, there's 4 different ways to define your value. One is core/basic services. 2 is differentiated services. 3 is custom services, and 4 is convenient services. So if you're in the selling industry at all, those are the most prevalent ways to differentiate your business from the competitor, which theoretically there is no competitors because you're only focused on improving your game and improving your business, communicating your difference. Long story short, from the beginning. So core basic services is just like, what are the basics in that industry that you're working in? What are the basic sales strategies? What are some of the basic services that people offer? In order for you to be an exceptional salesperson, jeez, the struggle today is real. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. In order for you to be or provide exceptional service, you have to understand the default or the core services of your industry. Then you have to find a way to differentiate yourself. So the way that you do that is by adding other elements to your business that separate you from, what you usually see as a basic service in your industry. And then you can have the ability to add any custom services. So stuff that not only differentiates you, but maybe that is custom tailored to your market, to your industry, to your personality. And then always obviously providing convenience to your clients, whether that's a buyer or a seller or a prospect, whoever. And then being sure to pretty much tap yourself on the back and say, hey, this is the reason why I'm different. And then communicate that very clearly. And the book suggests that we talk less and show more. So building your brand. So DMD Real Estate Group is my brand, right? Like that's everything that has to do with me. GOAT Media 2020 is my brand, right? The Journey to Greatness is my brand, or the Journey of Greatness is my brand. So these are all different brands that I operate through, right? So DMD Real Estate Group, when people, see me like out in public or whatever, they're like, hey, what's up, DMD? And so I know that, branding is, working well because I'm being associated with DMD Real Estate Group, which is awesome. And so when it comes to building your brand, there's 4 pillars. So recognition, which is like Walmart, Starbucks, to a point where eventually DMD Real Estate Group will be, or DMD Real Estate will be, known as a household name like Walmart or Starbucks, or the Ritz-Carlton, right? And then reputation. So the reason why, and this is kind of a double-edged sword, it's like one reason why I honor so much the people that trust me with their real estate needs is because, well, they could choose anyone. And then on the other side is because you have a reputation to fulfill, right? So if I'm providing bad service, or if I don't have an attitude of gratitude at all times, and I lose myself in a transaction, or feel like for any reason that, it's not an honor, to have a buyer or seller work with me, then you can pretty much lose the quality of your service. Jeff Bezos says, wake up every single day, assuming that your buyer, right, in his market, that your consumer, your buyer, is remarkably and beautifully disappointed. And so one thing I learned at the business convention that I went to over in Dallas about a week ago, was that all of the speakers said one common thing. And that common thing was, come back to your roots. Go back to when you first started in the business, whatever it is that you're doing. And that idea with Jeff Bezos is, imagine, every morning that you wake up that your clients are remarkably and beautifully disappointed is motivation, so that you can never pretty much lose your attitude of gratitude, right? What I just said. We have to be in a constant state of, it's the first day and we're building our business from the ground up. And the moment that we stop doing that is the moment we get comfortable. And the moment we begin not innovating is the moment that we die, in terms of a business, or we become dated, right? Or whatever reality you choose. And so for me, the biggest thing is just making sure that as you build your brand, you're also building a strong reputation along with it. One of high quality service, very close attention to detail, and near perfection, for the buyer or the seller. And good morning, my brother Steve. What's going on? Okay, so the third pillar, so the first two pillars are in building your brand are recognition and reputation. And then the third pillar is relevance. So how is the brand relevant to the client? So what services or what product? Good morning, sister. I love you. What service or product are you offering to your client, and how relevant is it to them? One thing about DMD Real Estate Group, and this is a total plug on my business, but is we pride ourselves in technology and advancement. Work with us, you won't be disappointed. No, sorry. No. One of the core values is remaining relevant in the marketplace, right? So, but that kind of goes hand in hand with differentiating yourself or building a custom plan. So DMD is not like a regular, brokerage, offering the same services. We differentiate ourselves not only in our visual presentation, our professional presentation, but with everything else that we, implement for the client. And then, obviously building that value around the client through client experiences. If they had a bad experience, which doesn't happen very often, actually like 2%, 1 or 1.5% of the time. And then if they have a really good experience, which is pretty much every time, what we can learn from that and how we can grow as a business. And then differentiation is the fourth pillar. So how do you differentiate yourself? And like I said, that ties in with being relevant, right? And so that's always changing. So to say that, DMD Real Estate Group is, providing the same service, yes, the same customer level of customer service, always improving, but the service is always changing, because on both sides, on the product and strategy side, and on the customer service side, because we're always trying to figure out ways to formulate a better plan to help a buyer, narrow his or her search down, to help a seller sell their house in a faster amount of time and for the most amount of money. And then the book goes into talking about independently sellers and sellers and buyers and what they normally want as a default. And so one thing that this book has inspired me to do is say, okay, well, great. I know what the basic people offer. So show more, talk less, right? That's what the book suggests. So I know what the basic people or the basic companies offer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a template. So I'm sharing a trademark secret. I'm going to create a default list showing all the basic services of company A. And then I'm going to turn around and make a trademark list for company B, which is DMD Real Estate Group. And I'm going to show the difference of what they get in terms of the value behind working with the DMD Real Estate Group brand. And I think that'll be a good visual for any client, buyer, or seller. So in your industry, if you have different products, we can talk about product all day long, but people do like visuals. I'm a really visual person. So even when I go into my meetings, I always have a pen and a notepad just so I can draw things out so people can really understand and trace and follow what I'm explaining in my presentation. So to do something like this where you have two separate companies, one company, and they do it all over the website, all over the internet. When you're looking for a service, they usually have 3 different packages, and then they have the word of what they offer, then a check mark next to it, and they have plan B, Then they add a couple more services, check mark, check mark, check mark. And then plan C, which is more expensive. And then they have check mark, all the way past and all the way down. So that actually makes a lot of sense. So taking that concept, applying it to your industry, figure out what the basic needs are, figure out what differentiates you and what you offer to help build your value so that you can charge a higher premium for your valued service, outbeating some of the discount brokers out there, right? Or people who discount their services. Pretty good idea. I'll give it a shot. And then the last, when I went to the ISSA convention in Texas, which was a huge convention, it was awesome. Another thing that I picked up is I was listening to these older businessmen run their business. And so primarily the ISSA convention is built around, at least that one was janitorial services and like building cleaning services, distribution. So they had like all of the top brands there. You had brands from overseas representing different companies and manufacturers. And pretty much if you have a janitorial service, let's say, for example, there's a number of other industries there, right? But janitorial, like home cleanliness and business was the focus. And so imagine you have a janitorial business and you want to get the latest and greatest, wood floor cleaning machine, or you want to get the latest and greatest eco-friendly, tile cleaning machine, for the different buildings, or street sweepers, whatever it was. They had them all there. It was amazing. But I went to this one financial class, so it was a pretty cool program. We'll finish here for today. I went to this class at the seminar because they had it broken down into different segments. It was like a 5 or 6, 7 day seminar. And I got to see David Goggins. If you guys don't know who that is, look him up. He's fire. He's awesome. And so I got to hear his story in person and meet him and take a picture with him, which is cool. One for the memory books. And then they have like a number of classes throughout this whole convention center, like so many rooms. And so you could pick on the schedule what classes you want to go to. So I went to a financial seminar, and there was, this guy there who was very profound. He was like, just the way he spoke was so eloquent, and it was like something you would see in a movie, just like his whole persona, his whole demeanor, and he was really smart. And so I was really paying attention because I was listening to him, which he had all like the facts and the analytics, and he was like an engineer. His brain, mechanically was wired just to pump information out. Then you had the sales guy, so I was watching both of their different demeanors and presentation. And they were talking about business. And so a gentleman in the audience asked, he said, hey, what happens? You have all these manufacturers now online. I've been in the business for 30 years. Now I'm starting to get out competed by, somebody who's getting, their services drop shipped. And so, they're not in need of my services essentially anymore. And so the gentleman answered the question, and he goes, oh, well, you want to get into, a little bit of web. His answer wasn't very definitive, meaning that it wasn't very defined. So when I was listening, just following along with everybody, and so I just started asking a series of questions because his company just got purchased. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, well, how do you, as a business owner, move to the right quadrant of space? So if you know anything about Rich Dad Poor Dad, he separates life into 4 quadrants, right? So the top left is employee, the bottom left is self-employed, and then the top right is a business owner, and then the bottom right is investor. So the whole objective is to shift the pendulum from the left side, which is being an employee, working for someone, not creating your own hours, not being your own boss, etc. Then you have the self-employed business owner. You are creating your hours, you are self-employed, however, you're still a slave to your business because you haven't found a way to exit it. That's something some of the older generation business owners are in. Like, they work at their business from early in the morning until late at night. So that is cool and that is great, but I'm not trying to work 20 hours a week or 20 hours a day or 18 hours a day to run a business and not have an exit plan and do that for the next 40 years of my life. No offense to anyone out there. because I have somebody in my family very dear to me who does that. And so the objective is to try to get him out of the business. So long story short, how do you compete with these manufacturers, and how do you shift the pendulum over to the right side of the quadrant where you're a business owner and you have 2, 3, 4 locations and you have the right personnel hired to run that branch? You have the right personnel hired to send you the financials every single day or every week, so you can review them with your CPA or by yourself with your significant other, however. All right, so you're running this business, and then the investor is, you've made so much wealth already. Long story short, you just pump money into whatever, and then you wait for the returns to hit your bank account. That's Robert Kiyosaki. He writes a pretty good book, but his concepts are absolutely marvelous. So that's Robert Kiyosaki. So at this seminar, I'm listening, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, as a business owner with so many competitors, in their industry, I wasn't too familiar, so I was asking very generally. But the company of the two guys who were presenting, they just got purchased by Staples, I think, or they were getting ready to get purchased by Staples. And so what they were explaining is if you are a product, if you sell product and you have different line products, right? And I just learned this as I was listening. You have different line products. You have different items that perform on a different level on multiple tiers. So what they'll do is they'll come in, assess what you are actually selling and how much money you're making on each product, and they'll start with your bottom line products, and they'll say, okay, this bottom line product is producing at X rate, so your ROI on it is X. We'll come in and provide a cheaper rate, and we'll help reconstruct your bottom numbers or your bottom line. And if we can help you with your bottom line and we're successful with that, then we can start moving up to your higher products that you sell at a higher volume and that you make more money on, right? So if that doesn't work, then we'll just go straight to your top and see if we can. And if we can't, then we wash our hands together and say, hey, nice meeting you. We can't help you at this time. And so that's pretty much what the vibe of what that company did. And so they got bought out, and somebody asked a question. They said, hey, do you guys, are you guys providing this for the product line, or your service is going to go up now that you got bought? So I got to thinking, I was like, well, how does a business, to get back to it, how does a business owner make it to the top right column of being a business owner? And one way that I've seen is that people build businesses to sell them. You would think, oh yeah, that's so cliche to say, right? People build businesses to sell them. So to all of my creators out there who are watching this video, right? If you imagine you create something and you build a business to a point where then you can sell it and then move on or transition into another space or another industry with that money, or invest it, hedge, and work your business hedge and start hedging that money to build another business so that can be self-sustaining. You can hire the right personnel, and now you're moving into the top right quadrant, and actually the bottom right quadrant of Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant of wealth. And so so they answered, well, it's going to be different for every business, of course. So, every business has a different need, but that's a really good question. And then I asked them the question. And so that's what the answer is. I just answered it. So one way to build your business is have the goal in mind that you're going to sell it later down the road, right? So you build it up to a certain point, and then somebody cashes you out. That's what Waze did. They got cashed out $250 million by Google Maps or something like that. That's what Zillow did. Trulia did. They got bought out by Zillow. That's the big merger between Sprint and T-Mobile. Verizon, Sprint and T-Mobile. I believe it was Sprint and T-Mobile. Their contract consisted of partnering up, continuing to monopolize the mobile industry, and then there's a 4-year reconvene, like a 4-year revisit clause in that contract. And in that contract, it says that, I think it's 4 years. It might be longer, but anyway, after 4 years of you and I working together, big corporation, then we're going to see how much money we've made. And this is what I imagine it would be. That we're going to see how much money we made. We made this much during these 4 years of growth. And before we merged, we actually made this much every month. Did we make more? Should we stay partners or should we stay connected? And if it doesn't work after that set time, then they'll divide and go their own ways and continue building their brands. Because yes, they've merged, but they haven't become one company. And so they still have their own identity. And so it was just really interesting to kind of see all this stuff happen. And as I'm like listening to like what the gentleman was saying, long story short, the convention was awesome, by the way. That was my first summary of the convention that we went to in Dallas. But the last part of this book says, differentiate or die. So I went up to the gentleman who asked the question, how do we compete with these manufacturers who are just drop shipping items, which just means that they're getting items from China. China's just drop shipping it right to the customer's house. So if I build a website, I can find the products online, figure out who will send them for me, package them, right? Create a relationship with them. And this is how you sell clothes or whatever. So if you guys need anything on that, let me know. And so you find the distributor. And then once you find a distributor, that person will package it with your label or whatever it is, charge you a premium for it, and then drop it at the client's house rather than you doing all the work, you having the plant, you having the overhead, you having the machines. It's a lot more expensive, right? Hopefully you can see the difference. So I walked up to the gentleman and I was like, embrace the technology. You've been in the industry for 30 years, meaning you've provided good customer service more than likely for 30 years because people are still operating with your business. So the way that you counterbalance or counteract the technology is, or these other people who are being more competitive, you have to find a way to differentiate yourself, and you have to embrace the technology. Figure out how technology can help leverage your time and leverage your exposure without you having to do anything except for learn it. So learn it, see what programs they're using. If there's a way that you can drop ship and you can make it more feasible to take your business out of the country, whatever it may be. And I was like, but learn technology, because they didn't definitively answer, but I'm telling you, technology, video, just anything really that is different from what you have been doing, keep that element, but you got to add this brand new pillar of your business, the technological pillar of your business, in order to be, I think, competitive. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks, man, I really appreciate it. And so so differentiate or die is what I'm saying. You have to innovate. That was a big one. Innovate or die. Live every day as if it's your first day in growing your business, so that you don't lose yourself and you're always providing the top tier customer service to your buyers, your sellers, your prospects, whoever it is. And then that just helps with just being a good person overall. So with that being said, thank you so much. The concept, or not the concepts, but the readings today and for the rest of the month, maybe, or sooner, is coming from The Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall. It's a pretty good book. And I will see you all tomorrow at 5 a.m. I hope you all have the best day of your life. And I love you dearly. And thanks for joining me today. See ya.